Now, Azure Container Apps, this is the most exciting part. What is it? It's Azure App Service wrapping Kubernetes. It's the simplicity of the feel of an Azure App Service, but the underlying power of hosting your app in a container inside Kubernetes. And some of the key features are dynamic scaling, scale to zero, scale to idle. And let me talk about CADA, Kubernetes event-driven autoscaler. You know, the built-in HTTP scaling and Q-Link scaling and CPU scaling, that's interesting. But the custom CADA scalers give you 56 more avenues on when you can automatically scale to multiple instances of your containers running. And that's just like having multiple instances of an app service, multiple server instances of an app service. So you have a web farm, same thing, multiple of a particular container scaling. And you can scale it based on custom metrics in Azure Monitor. That's one of the CADA scalers. So think about this. Your code can define a metric, push it out to Azure Application Insights, and based on the value of that metric, your Azure Container App scales up to more instances. So effectively, that lets you have a C# code-driven way to choose when to scale up or when to scale down. So you can really control the logic in a fine-grained way. So that's pretty interesting. It also has environment variables. It also has secrets, so that you can put all those in the app service or container app configuration. Okay, so let's highlight the existing and stable technology that you're going to see, but we're just kind of gloss over and see how the latest in .NET and Azure Container Apps works. We want to take the current best of breed and integrate the big new tech announcements. And we're going to dig into that. And by the way, the code that you're going to see here is not, unfortunately, not currently available, and it's not in a current shareable state publicly. Haven't gotten to that point, but if any of you have an immediate project where you really need it, just send me an email and I'll bend over backwards to get it to you in whatever form or fashion and get you going down the road. So we just don't have it published in a way where I can just kind of send out a link and there it is. All right, so we're going to be using Azure. We're going to be using Azure DevOps, and we're going to be using Octopus Deploy, and we're going to stitch it together. And if you are a longtime follower of our webinars, then you'll know how our guidance on how to properly marry Octopus Deploy with Azure DevOps. We're doing the integration builds and testing in Azure pipelines, and then orchestrating a pipeline where we have Microsoft account permissions for approving to go to UAT, approving to go to production, doing full system testing in a deployed environment in Azure pipelines, but let Octopus Deploy do the deploying and all of the operations and the runbooks and the maintenance of the environments, which Octopus just excels so well on, especially on the ops side of DevOps. Whereas Azure Pipelines is really focused on making changes to the software and moving them along and pushing them, but really doesn't touch on the ops side. So marrying them together, they work really well. Again, we're not going to go deep into the feature set of either Azure Pipelines or Octopus Deploy. We're just going to take Azure Container Apps, put it in there. If you need to go deeper in those, give us a call. There's tons of tutorials out there, that content. Okay,